Welcome back, boys. This is an in-depth video showing you how every one of my lights work on my mini bike. Alright, so I have a 12 volt 20 amp hour battery. I originally had a 10 amp hour battery. This thing broke on me and it wasn't lasting nearly as long as this one. Look at the size difference. And from the ground connection on the battery, you need to ground it to the frame to make everything way easier, and that's just kind of standard. So run a wire from the ground terminal to the frame, and then on the positive wire you want to have an inline fuse just like this, and then after that those two connections can go through a plug like this. And this is what I do. I plug in the bike when I'm riding, I unplug it when I'm not riding, and I plug in the charger here when I want to charge it. This is just the black and positive wire coming from the battery, and then it carries on to the rest of the bike. So then this positive and ground wire right here go up the engine and connect into this controller right here. This controller has different inputs and outputs, like headlight input and then headlight output. It's a button, so you give it input, it breaks the circuit, and then when you press the button, it connects the circuit, and that's how it powers it on. And you have different inputs for the horn, different inputs for the headlight, different inputs for the turn signals, and then all of them have a separate output too. Now, before you can give it the turn signal input, it needs to come in as a pulsing signal. That's where you put in your turn signal relay. This thing takes normal positive and ground in, and it gives you a load out, and the load out is adjustable right here. It flashes like a turn signal, that's the point of it. So the output of this goes into the turn signal input of this. And what that does is it makes sure that the input going into the controller for the turn signals is flashing, so the output will be flashing as well. That's how you get the light to flash. Otherwise it will be just solid, and that won't work. Alright, so recap, you give this thing turn signal positive, horn positive, and headlight positive. The turn signal positive is coming from the relay, the rest are coming straight from the battery. Then you will have the outputs. The headlight output is a positive wire, so you run that to the positive wire on your headlight bulb, and then it's the same for the horn. The turn signals are the same as well, but you're left with the ground. Since we grounded the frame, as you can see here, I just have a bolt going through the frame on here as well, and this part is also grounded. So these grounds complete the circuit for the positive outputs of this button right here. For example, when I press the headlight button, this button sends positive to the headlight wire, and then the ground is completed from this bolt right here. That way they're all in the same spot and it's more organized. It is still a mess, but it's a little better. So for the tail light, there is no tail light output, so we tie it into the headlight. So anytime the headlight comes on, the same wire that's going to the front bulb is also being run to the back to the tail light. That's how they are connected together. Now the turn signal output wires are getting run down through here, and then they are these rainbow wires right here. The yellow, blue, and green are tail light and turn signal. The red is the brake light positive, and then this black wire, you can ignore it, that's for the tachometer. So these are all positive wires for turn signal and tail light and brake light. These get run up along the frame, and then they get to the back and connect the positive to the light positive, and then you still need a ground. The ground gets run back up to here, and just like on the front, we have them all tied together into one bolt. That way it's just one spot right there. And that's how the positives work for the turn signal, tail light, brake light, turn signal. Blue and green are my right and left turn signal. Yellow is my tail light, and then red is my brake light. These are all positive wires, and the grounds are under this bolt, and they all get ran to these bulbs. So I showed you how the tail light works. It's connected to the headlight. Whenever you press that button, the tail light also comes on, but you need some way for the brake to come on when you press the lever. That's where this sensor comes in right here. You need some type of sensor that completes the circuit when it gets pulled. You can see when this thing is pulled out, it's connecting these two wires together. The green wire is positive, and the black wire is our control wire. The black wire actually turns into the red wire that you see here. So we're giving it positive input, and then it has an output. That output goes to the brake light. So when you press this, it's connecting positive to the other wire, giving the brake light positive and making it brighter than the tail light. This is how I have my wires routed. This is the main positive and negative wire that you saw coming from the connection after the battery. And then the rest of the wires are all the output wires coming out of that thing, the controller, the brake light, and the tachometer. Another important thing is you need to sleeve these wires up, otherwise they will break, like this wire right here. When you turn left, these wires are getting pinched, so you need to have some type of fabric or a sleeve over them. I have gold tape and fabric tape on them, and this does a good job. If you don't do that, this will happen eventually, trust me. So make sure you do that. Just to recap, the main parts are the controller, the battery, the bulbs themselves, the turn signal relay, which is what makes the turn signals flashing like this, and then your brake light sensor if you want to brake. And then it's just wires and connections from there out. I'll show you some tools that will make this easier. Alright, so you definitely need lots of wire, and you want rolls of it in case you make a mistake or something, and you want different colors so it's at least somewhat organized. You also want these connections so you can plug them into bulbs and stuff. These are good for the round ends. You need round ends for the ground, and then you need some heat shrink butt connectors to connect wires directly together. You don't need these 3 sets, but you need something like this. You definitely need the wires. Yeah, I think that sums it up for now. I am waiting on new turn signals and a tail light from China. Once those come in, I'll make a video of me installing them so you guys can see in detail. But that sums it up. Please let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.